individual reflective video for data security assessment 2. In this video I'll talk about what I learned from week 1 to 4. I will explain the main topic I learned, the things I found difficult, and how I improved my understanding, and the most important lessons I learned from these 4 weeks. Before I talk about each week, I want to explain how I have organized my reflection. For each week, I'll talk about four main things. First, what I learned. Second, what I found difficult or challenging. Third, what I did understand the topic better. And finally, what I learned from the experience. Week 4 mainly introduced the basic ideas of information security. Week 2 focuses more into security threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. Week 3 introduced legal, ethical, professional issues. Finally, week 4 focused on security planning, governance, and business continuity. So I'll go through each week one by one. In week 1, I learned about the basic concept of information security. One thing I learned is that security is not something we achieve once and then forget about. It is an ongoing process. Organization always need to find a balance between protecting information and allowing people to access the information they need. We also learned about risks and security control. A risk is something that could harm or loss. A security control is something that we use to manage that risk. Another topic we studied was the history of information security. We looked at how security developed from early code breaking during World War II and later become more important as computer and the internet developed. We also learned about the main parts of an information technology. This include hardware, software, data, people, procedures, and networks. Another very important concept was the CIA trait. CIA stand for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means protecting information from the people who should not have access to it. Integrity means making sure information is accurate and has not been changed in an unauthorized way. Availability means making sure information and systems are available when people need them. We also learn about the system development life cycle, or SDLC. The main lesson I took from this was that security should be concerned from the beginning of a project rather than being added at the end. Now I want to talk about my personal reflection on week 1. Before starting this unit, I mainly thought information security was something about things like password, antivirus, software, and firewalls. After studying week 1, I realized that information security is much broader than that. One thing I found difficult was understanding all the different parts of information security, especially the CIA threat, the different of stages of SDLC. The main at first, some of this concept were confusing because there were many new terms. To improve my understanding, I went through the lecture slides again and again, and I tried to connect the concept with real life examples. For example, I thought about online banking. Confidentiality means other people should not see my banking information. Integrity means nobody should be able to change my bank account without permission. Availability means I should be able to access my bank account system when I need it. This made the CIA trade much easier for me to understand. Main lesson I learned from week one is that information security is not about technology, it is about protecting information, people, and system as whole. Moving on, week two, we learned about why organization need information security. The main idea I learned is that security is important for many parts of an organization. It protects organization's availability to continue working. It protects important data and informations. It helps protect the application and system that organization use. It also protect technology assets. One thing that surprised me was that information security is not only the responsibility of the IT department, also is a security is also a management issue. We learned about three main communities of interest. There's a general management, IT management, and information security management. All three groups need to work together. For example, management needs to understand the risk and provide support. IT management needs to manage technology and system. Information security management need to identify security risk and help protect our organization. This showed me that security needs teamwork across an organization. Another important part of week two was learning the difference between threats, attacks, exploit, and vulnerabilities. Before this week, I sometimes thought these words meant almost the same thing. However, I learned they are different. A threat is something that causes the potential cost to harm. An attack is something that tries to damage or compromise information or a system. An exploit is a technique that can be used to take advantage of weakness. A vulnerability is a weakness in a system or security control. We also learned about human error. This was one of the most interesting parts for me. Security problems do not always happen because of highly skilled hackers. Sometimes they happen because people make simple mistakes. For example, one might use a weak password, click on a dangerous link, or accidentally share sensitive information. This is why security awareness and training are very important. Technology alone cannot completely protect an organization. People also have an important role in this security system. When I reflect on week two, I can see my understanding of security change. Before this week, I mainly saw cybersecurity as a technical problem. Now I understand that it is also an organizational problem. One thing I found difficult was remembering difference between an attack, a threat, an exploit, and a vulnerability. To understand this term, I try to connect them with real life examples. For example, imagine a building has a broken window. So the broken window can be seen as a vulnerability. A person who want to enter the building can be a threat. A person entering through the broken window can be an attack. The method they use to enter can be compared to an exploit. Using this example like this helped me to understand the difference between them. I also learned that security is a shared responsibility. This is not only responsibility of security professionals. Only in an organization has a role to play. The biggest lesson for me was that human behavior can have a major effect on security. Week three was a different because we moved from technical topics to legal, ethical, and professional issues. We learned about difference between law and ethics. A law is a rule that is created enforcement by the government. Ethics are principle about what people believe is right or wrong. We also learned about policies. A policy is a set of rules or instruction that organization expect people to follow. Privacy was another important topic. Today, organization collect a huge amount of information about people. This can include personal information, financial information, and information about online activities. Because of this, protecting people's privacy is very important. We also learned about professional responsibility. There are professional organizations such as AISA and SACS in Australia, as well as international organizations such as ACM, ISSCA, ISSA, and ISC Square. These organizations have professional codes of ethics. We also looked into Australian laws and regulations related to security and privacy. This includes Privacy Act 1988, Telecommunications Act 1997, Corporation Act 2001, Spam Act 2003, and other security related legalization. The main idea I took from week 3 was that organizations have a responsibility to take responsible steps to protect informations. My understanding of ethics before this week's was very quite simple. I mainly thought ethics meant knowing what is right or wrong. After studying this topic, I realized that ethics can be more complicated in the IT industry. One thing I found challenging was remembering the difference between laws, ethics, and organization policies. I also found difficult to remember the different Australian laws because there were several of them. Improve my understanding, I reviewed lectural materials and focused on the main purpose of each law instead of trying of memorize everything at once. My thinking also changed about privacy. Before, I mainly thought privacy was about keeping password and personal information safe. Now I understand that privacy is also about how organizations collect, use, store, and share people's data or informations. As future IT professional, I think this is a very important. I need to understand my technical decisions can affect real people's, so I need to act responsibly and follow both professional ethics and legal requirements. In week 4, we learned about security planning and governance. Governance is about how organizations leader can provide direction and making sure security supports an organization's goal. We learned about 5 main goals of governance. First, strategy strategic alignment. This means making sure security supports that organization overall business strategy. The second is risk management. This means identifying and management security risk. The third is a resource management. This means using people, technology, and other resources properly. And the fourth is performance measurement. This means checking whether security activities are actually working or not. The fifth is value delivery. This means making sure the organization gets value from its security investment. This week helped me to understand that security decisions should not made randomly. They should support organizations' goals and be properly planned. Another important topic in week 4 was security policies. I learned that policies provide direction for people in an organization. Below policies, we have understand guidelines and procedures. And standards explain specify requirements that need to be followed. Guidelines provide recommendations. Procedures gives steps by steps introduction about how to do something. We also learned about 2 types of security policies: the First is an issue specific security policy or ISSP. It focuses on particular technology or issue. For example, it could cover email use, internet use, or bring your own device, also called BYOD. The second is a systems specific security policy or SYSSP. This provides more specific guidance about systems and technical controls. For example, it could include access control or firewall configurations. The main thing I learned is that policies can help turn security goals into clear rules and action. They help employees understand what what they are expected to do. The final major topic I learned in week 4 was continuity planning. Continuity planning is about preparing an organization for unexpected event and helping it continue operating after a disruption. We learned about three important plans. The first, incident response plan or IRP. This focuses on what organization should have do immediately when security incident happens. The second is disaster recovery planning or DRP. This focuses on recovering system and restoring normal operations after a serious incident. The third is business continuity planning or BCP. This focuses on continuing important business activities when the normal workplace or system cannot be used. We also learned about business impact analysis. These help organization understand which activities are most important and what could happen if they stop. Another important lesson was these plans should not just be written and forgotten, they need to be tested and updated and practiced. This helps make sure people knows what to do when a real life incident happens. When I look back at week 1 to 4, I can see a clear development in my understanding. Week 1 gave me a basic foundation of information technology, information security. Week 2 helped me to understand threats, vulnerabilities, and the organizational needs for security. Week 3 showed me importance of law, ethics, privacy, and professional responsibility. Week 4 showed me how organizations plan and manage security at higher level. I also developed some useful skills. I become better at using security terminology. I learned how to think about security risk and controls. I also learned what security decisions are not always only technical decisions. They can involve legal, ethical, and business issues as well. Overall, now I can see cybersecurity as much bigger field than I did before starting this unit. I was surprised by how much security depends on people, policies, and good planning. The biggest lesson I will take into the rest of my IT degree is that good security requires people, processes, and technology to work together. To conclude, the main lesson I learned from week 1 to 4 is that information security is much more than just using antivirus software, uh, passwords, or firewalls. Security involves people, technology, processes, policies, and management. I also learned that security is an ongoing process. Organization needs to continuously identify risk, improve their controls, and prepare for possible incidents. Another important lesson is that people can be both security risk and important part of the security system. Good training and awareness can help reduce human mistakes. Finally, I learned that good governance and planning are necessary for an organization to protect its information and continue operation operating during dif- difficult situations. These 4 weeks have given me a strong foundation for the rest of my IT studies and careers. They have also helped me understand my cybersecurity knowledge, such as cyber. They help me to understand why cybersecurity is such an important part of the IT industry. Thank you everyone for watching my reflection. At the end, I'm just adding the references which help me to make the whole slides. My reflection was mainly based on data security lecture materials from week 1 to 4 and prescribed textbook named Principle of Information Security by Whitman and Method. I also I have also included the additional resources and references on this slide as you can see in this page. Thank you for watching.